So you want to meet a Filipino. Well, the first thing that you want to do is find a reputable dating platform. So there's a lot of platforms to use to find Filipino girls that you want to marry. Some of them cost money, other ones don't. The one that I found my wife with, it didn't cost money. And then after you get on there, you want to scroll around for a bit and you want to create your profile. And it should be a genuine profile, like recent photos, accurate information about yourself, your interests, values, because you don't want to get with someone who has completely different interests and values than you do. Because you're going to be doing your hobbies and then they're going to be doing their hobbies and you're just not, and they're not going to want to do your hobbies, you're not going to want to do theirs, and you're just not going to mesh good. So you want someone with similar interests and values. Another thing to consider is the cultural differences. You should take your time, learn a little bit about the culture and traditions and values of the Filipino people. Most of them are Catholic. Some of the ones from the Southern Islands are Muslim, but generally they're pretty strict in their Catholic faith and the way they present themselves and the way that they dress. You also want to be respectful when communicating with them. You don't want to come across as, an a-hole or someone who's rude, because then you'll just be wasting your time and theirs because they're not going to want to talk to you much more. And try not to use like any stereotypes on their culture. Even if you've read them and you think they'd be true, you have to find what they're comfortable with talking about. And importantly, take your time. Don't rush. Don't, find like the very first person you talk to. Get to know them. Even like you can talk to like two or three at the same time. And as long as you're not telling them that you love them or whatever, you can have like 20 girls and you narrow it down to 10 and five, and eventually down to three, two, and then the one that you finally chose. There's no reason to rush and pick one person the very first day. But, as you do get to know them, you want to video call them. Facebook Messenger is free in the Philippines, even if they don't have cell phone service. I think it's like satellite or something because everyone has access to Facebook Messenger as soon as they get a phone. So that's generally how you're going to talk to them. It's way more personal than staying on the site. Generally, you want to move off the site after you use it. But after you talk to her for a while, you want to start making plans eventually as you talk for months and months to visit the Philippines. First thing that you need to do is have a passport. You should do a passport before you even start talking to her because it takes a couple months to get it. But then after you have the passport, you can stay there for 30 days with no visa. You can just arrive. So you would I arranged for my wife to come and meet me at the airport because you'll get lost in the Philippines. The street numbering system is not well done, if there is at all. So you can try with Google Maps, but I would recommend just having her meet you at the airport. It's going to save you so much time and hassle. And you can even get a Philippines phone at the airport for like $50 and then put service on it. That way, you have internet while you're there. And then once you get there and you meet the person that you intend to marry, you have to figure out if you want to do a fiance visa, which means you just hang out with her for 30 days and you come back home. You do the fiance visa when after you get back to the United States. And then when that's finished, she can fly here and be with you. The benefit with that is it's a lot faster, but she can't work for like the first year after she gets here. Or you can just go there and get married. Um, and then come back. That one takes a little bit longer. That's what I did. It takes about a year. But after she comes here, she gets a 10-year green card. She can work right away. It's very easy for her. But when you're there, you're going to want to meet her family, most importantly, her parents. You would bless them, which involves like putting someone's hand on their forehead, but she'll teach you that. Talk to her about the marriage and fiance visa and see what she wants. Get there, make sure as you meet her, she wasn't, lying to you about who you are, and you're showing that you're not lying to her about who you are. And you see how good of a wife, she's going to be, and you show her how good of a husband you're going to be. Um, and whatever dynamic that looks like for you two is up to you two. I came in with a decent amount of money from the military, and my wife, cooked and cleaned. And many Filipino women, they're very serious about being a good wife and bringing everything like that to the table. Like they still work too. Um, they're not like 1940s wives, but I've seen like their classes in school, and some of their classes is like homemaking and cooking and stuff like that. But you want to meet all of her friends, show her friends that you're a real person and you're not an asshole or an a-hole, and discuss your future plans with her, your goals, family expectations, whether you want to have children or not. It's very important. And then you should both have a clear understanding of what both of your expectations are in the future, whether you just want her to stay home, or maybe she says, well, I don't want to work, I want to stay home, or maybe she does want to work and make her own money. But that should all be talked about while you were there, because it will vary by girl very differently. Like some girl, they might not want to work ever, and they just want to be a housewife and cook and clean. And another girl said, "Well, I don't really clean that much, but I cook really well, and I can hold a job down." So I mean, you just have to figure out what's going on with you too. So maybe you're like, well, she likes to clean, but she doesn't like to cook. Well, that's fine because I love to cook. You never know. And then think about your legal considerations. Um, whether you want to do the marriage there or do the fiance visa when you get back. Make sure that you have all the paperwork that you need if you want to get married there. You have to go like to the US Embassy and get paperwork, and you should research all of that before you go. That way you're not scrambling to do it. Like when I got there, I knew what exactly I had to do. I had to go to the embassy. I had to get like a form that says I can marry from the US Embassy. I had to take that down to like a lawyer and all that stuff. So it's pretty complicated to try to go there and get married. It's a lot easier to do the fiance visa and take your time doing it when you get back. And just take it all seriously. It's a very important step. You're talking about marriage. Filipinos take marriage very seriously. Divorce is actually illegal in that country, so it's not something that they do regularly. Generally, they marry for life. Um, But the Philippine culture, it's pretty amazing. I love it. They cook really good barbecue. I would say some of the best barbecue, if not the best barbecue on planet Earth. Um, and then when you get there, you can do other things like, take her to like the zoo and go out on dates. And she's probably going to need a passport because odds are she doesn't have a passport. Maybe even she doesn't even have a state ID. Maybe she doesn't even, have a birth certificate. You don't know until you get there and you talk to her. So you might have to do all of her legal paperwork with her while you're there. That way, when you get back home or you do your visa, everything's all finished. But then after that, you just go back home and you wait for either the visa to go through, whether it takes 4 months or whether it takes a year and a half. You're more than free, if it does take 6 months to, go back after 6 months and fly her to America, maybe spend another 2 weeks there and then fly her back to America and bring her home with you. I did mine during COVID, so it actually took 2 years about. So I went and seen her twice while we were waiting for that 2 years, which was hard to do during COVID. But after that, you fly her back to America and then you start the life that you guys want to live. And that's about it.